So, volume 14 of Cleanliness and Clownliness. Let's go ahead and skip through here. Alright, now we got Karako Pierrot, who seems to be a purple blood. Looks like a, kind of like a clown in training here. Alright, let's see what the dealio is here. Best boy! Can't wait. Can't wait for best boy here. Pet the Rock? Nah, fam. Dwayne Johnson would be way too high maintenance for me. If you smell what the Rock is cooking. Having learned the dangers of using the public thoroughfares, you've taken to dodging down byways and skulking in rear areas, trying to spy out individuals who look ripe for friendship, while avoiding the more criminally insane denizens. Just now, you're following a winding footpath through the undergrowth, surrounding a neighborhood where the local hives are spaced far apart. Oh my gosh, Steiner is like wigging out. Steiner sees something. He's very excited about something. What is it, buddy? What do you see? What is it you want? Money? Power? Tell me! Oh, she's like a bug or a bird or something. Alright, anyway. Oh, Kitty's fine. Kitty is in hunting mode, I think. I think he sees a bug or something in the window. Oh, looks like he's going back in the bed. Or not. Who could say it? This is very exciting stuff right now. Not chittering just yet, but he might soon. Sometimes he does do a little chittering when he sees things out in the world. But he's very entertained. He's highly entertained right now, so he's fine. Yeah, Steiner is on the prowl. Yep, it's now a hunting stream. Cat hunting stream. Humph. You came creeping along this footpath for safety. You should have known better. The undergrowth here is like most of the other life forms in Alternia, evolved to ruthlessly purge the gene pool of the weak and the reasonable. Coiled, spring-loaded stalks with foot-long thorns flank writhing bushes with razor-edged leaves, which in turn crowd tentacled flora with toothed lobes, oozing liquid that hisses and smokes when it touches the ground. Extreme caution is needed, just as it's needed in every circumstance on this planet. While your time on Alternia has gotten you accustomed to injuries, you still shrink from being impaled on sprung thorns and dissolved in acid. None of this sounds pleasant in the least. Steiner has his stream to watch too. Yes, his stream is outdoor life. You should have known that eventually you would have to come up against the local flora. So you proceed discreetly, avoiding poison fronds and trying not to step on trigger roots. But suddenly, your vegetative focus is interrupted! You will hear footsteps on the path, and then around the corner comes a small figure. Oh my gosh. Oh, let's bump that down a little more. That is quite loud. I dig this music though. Oh, he's got like a little gold tooth here. Kind of reminds me of Caliborn. Music, an ASCII image of Bowsette. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. By James Roach from the album Hiveswap Friendsim. This is a placeholder title. The real one is an actual ASCII image of Bowsette. That is wonderful. Alright, its face and horns are painted with smudged black and white marks. Despite its diminutive physique, it has some of the most impressive horns you've seen on any troll. Then the small figure sees you too, and is so startled it jumps a foot, impaling its horns in an overhanging tree branch, and sticking there so that its small legs pump helplessly in the air. Honk! You beg the small person's pardon, and assure him that you were as fully startled as he. You go on to explain that you are not dangerous, but that even if you were, you would not want to come to strife with even a small person with horns of that size. Honk? Yes, you will be happy to help him down as long as he promises not to attack you with the many bladed weapons that are stuffed into his belt, or with the dozen cans of inexpensive soft drink held in bandoliers crossing his chest. It strikes you that suddenly that a neighborly gesture like helping someone whose horns are stuck in a tree branch can scarcely fail to kindle the light of friendship. You dare to hope that this will be the case now. Edging forward, you get close enough to see that around the small clown's neck hangs a dog tag or ID necklace. You tilt your head and crane your neck to read the writing on it. So I see that Gamzee and Tavros had a son. That's wonderful. Karako Piro. If lost, call Branya or Sama. Oh my gosh. If lost, call Branya? That is wonderful. Suddenly, this all makes sense. This Karako Piro must have been one of Branya's reject runt wrigglers who, having grown to childhood under her tender care, has gone out into the world to seek his fortune. That would account for his small size, short legs, and small stature relative to his horns. You eagerly pull out your palm husk, happy for an excuse to pester your old friend, but you've got zero signal out here. You wonder if the surrounding vegetation eats palm husk signals, just as it looks like it eats everything else. You disappointedly slip your palm husk back into your pocket. Honk! You apologize for the delay, explaining that you were surprised to find that you appear to have an acquaintance in common, whom you hope will have time to discuss later. For now, you are ready, willing, and hopefully able to help him down. You hope he won't be offended if you slip behind him first. It's not that you object to bladed weapons or those who stuff dozens of them in their belts, but you feel that the ones he's wearing could ruin your look if buried in your torso, however unintentionally. You edge past the weapons, being careful also not to touch the spring thorns growing at the edge of the path, or their trigger roots. Once you're behind Karako, you grasp his horns firmly and pull, withdrawing them from the tree branch and allowing him to drop lightly to the ground. He's just hanging there, just hanging around. Honk! You tell him that he's very welcome. Then there's a moment of awkward silence as you try to think of something else to say. Fortunately, your new potential friend is not as devoid of the social graces as you are, and gets the conversational ball rolling himself. Honk? You explain that you are indeed a stranger of these parts, and that you actually don't fit into any of the hemospectrum categories. Wild, right? Although not quite as strange as you used to be, you like to think, you're really starting to blend in with the local color. Honk? Well, you'd rather not exhibit your blood just now. You're a couple of courts low due to the robust conditions of life on Alternia, some of which you have recently had the honor of encountering. Honk. Is he armed with cans of Faygo? I like to think so. I like to think that he is indeed armed with cans of Faygo. It only makes perfect sense. He just takes one out and yeets it at you. We'll see. You sympathize. Sneaking along these hidden paths in the Alternian woods can be tough on the morale. The smell alone is enough to make strong men weep, and the vegetation looks like it was designed by the Marquis de Sade. Not that he knows who the Marquis de Sade is. You can't help but feel that it would be so much better if one only had a skulk buddy, you continue. How wonderful it would be to travel these dusky lanes with a kindred spirit, a twin soul, a fellow traveler, and an intimate crony. You're such an expert on friend synonyms by now. Honk? No, you haven't met anyone like that either, but you would certainly like to. Your new potential friend is obviously thinking seriously about this issue, so you back off, give him space. You pretend to be deeply immersed in studying one of the razor-sharp leaves on one of the writhing bushes beside the path. His special move, fizzy sugar liquid to the face. Yes, he is a runtime blood name, and that is true. Is this some kind of an orphan raised by a pack of wild clowns? Oh, no, actually, it seems like he was raised by Branya, in fact. So there is that. You aren't one to force yourself on others, or try to unduly influence their friendship decisions. Okay, well, maybe you've forced yourself on others in the past, and tried to influence their friendship decisions. Maybe you've even done this a lot. But you've recently evolved as a person. You now know that friendship is something that has to come authentically from within. Friendship is spontaneous. Real friendship sprouts naturally from the soil of mutual respect. The best friendships grow and ripen over years and are not rushed or forced. Of course, you've only known this small person for about 5 minutes, but you have to start ripening sometime. You're reflecting thus on the theme of friendship when a loud pours suddenly from the sky above you. It's a crackling, sizzling sound, like a chitinous thing with too many legs struggling in a hot frying pan. Karako jumps so violently that he nearly gets his horn stuck in a tree again. Looking up, you see a floating metal object, vaguely troll-shaped, but huge, faceless, metal, and with numerous sets of lightning bolt-shaped horns coming out of its head and neck. This entire series is basically pale porn and troll romance terms. Yeah, I mean, that's not wrong. I'll be honest, I'm getting 8-week-old kitten vibes from Karako. I can't believe I haven't realized this before. It's also not a very sparkling conversationalist. It remarks in a flat, echoing blare. It elaborates further. Honk! Let's save. And let's go with, run a drone or leap to your proto-friend's aid. Let's go with leaping to our proto-friend's aid first this time. You leap to your proto-friend's aid! Thinking quickly, you push Karako against a large rock that juts out of the undergrowth nearby and jump in front of him, shielding him from the drone with your body. You then pretend to be leaning against the rock in an attitude of tranquil repose. Several of the bladed weapons in Karako's belt poke you in the ass, but you don't let this show on your face. Instead, you yawn elaborately and check your wristwatch. You don't have a wristwatch, but you don't think drones know what a wristwatch is anyway. You pretend to smoke a non-existent cigarette. Again, you're not giving anything away because drones don't know what cigarettes are either. But the drone has apparently taken an interest in you. It floats down between the trees and undergrowth and hovers above the path several meters from where you're pretending to relax against a rock after a long day of hiking through scenic shit-smell forest. It's quite a terrifying sight, actually. The drone observes you soullessly, making Karako jump so that several of your internal organs are threatened. However, you maintain what you believe the local populace would call a stiff upper whistle pillow. The drone's blank metal head studies you, or it could be studying something in the opposite direction, or even taking the drone equivalent of a piss. You can't really tell from its expression because it has no features to make expressions with. This examination, or non-examination, continues for some time. But your diminutive potential friend is well hidden from view, and after a while, evidently concluding that you are an inanimate object that makes unaccountable gestures with its wrists and fingers, the drone floats upward again, gaining speed until with a dreary it whizzes off somewhere to find other hapless non-standard citizens to euthanize. When it's gone, you stand away from the rock and rub several sore places that have been pierced by bladed weapons. You turn to Karako to comment on the recent fervor, but stop when you see the look he is directing at you. A warm and admiring look. An affectionate and esteeming look. A look of friendship! Your first impulse is to throw your arms around him and lean in, but on second thought, remembering his pants arsenal, you put out your hand for a warm handshake. Victory is so close! Before you can seal the deal of this sweet friendship transaction, you hear a disturbance further down the path. God, can't the narrative chill for one single moment, especially a moment when you're about to consummate a beautiful friendship? You turn to look. The footsteps, several sets of them, get nearer, and around the bend come 3 figures. 3 figures wearing swimming outfits, lots of gold jewelry, and insouciant expressions. What does insouciant mean? I don't know what that word means. Let's see. Let's take a look. I'm looking up on Google right now. Oh, insouciant, showing a casual lack of concern, indifferent. Insouciant. Alright, that's a new word I've learned today. Alright, so let me reread this with the correct pronunciation. 3 figures wearing swimming outfits, lots of gold jewelry, and insouciant expressions. 3 figures with grills on their necks and small stylized fins on their face. Oh man, is it possible that you finally happened upon a group of the legendary Sea Dwellers? Oh, that's exciting if that's true. They stop short when they see you and Karako, obviously startled. They study you. You study them. Then Finhead Interloper 1, in a one-piece and diamond earrings, whispers to her companions, and all 3 burst out laughing. Finhead Interloper 2, in a violet wetsuit and rings, slaps her thigh, and Finhead Interloper 3, in checkered swimming trunks, holds his sides. Part of you is relieved. Laughter drives out the devil, is the best medicine, and in any event, is better than homicidal mania. On the other hand, this laughter isn't friendly. It's cold, mocking, and supercilious. Supercilious? Okay, that's another word I have to look up. I have to look up another word. I'm learning vocabulary today. Alright. So, supercilious definition. Behaving or looking as though one thinks he is superior to others. That makes sense. That checks out. Oh, thanks for the hydrate, Nema. You just come across this group of Sea Dwellers, pause, give them finger guns, and say, "Hey!" I like it. Good stuff. These Sea Dwellers are, on the other hand, this laughter isn't friendly. It's cold, mocking, and supercilious. These Sea Dwellers are obviously laughing at you, not with you. You notice Karako's cheeks flushing purple under his face paint, and his jaws clenching. However, he just stares with stony dignity at the interlopers. This just makes them laugh harder. The first Sea Dweller says, "What are you two supposed to be?" "Shrimp Cassidy and the squamous kid," says her second companion. "A cull-bait minnow and his mutated softshell crab," says her third. Looks like he went minimal. Looks like the minimal one went down on the clown, causing it to spurt out the other one. The Sea Dweller's laughter is redoubled. You continue expressionless at these insults, but to your dismay, Karako's face is taking on a harsh, glowering look. You guess that such a tiny dude has probably been victimized by bullies his whole life, and as you happen to know, there are no bullies like Alternian bullies. Honk! You tell him to let them talk all the shit they want. Don't let them provoke him. They're trying to get him to do something stupid. If he doesn't react, they'll get bored and go away. Honk! No! Remember that drone. It's probably still around here somewhere. Touch a scale on their heads and you could be rendered into Mother Glove feedstock. Hey, bottom feeders, you're no whispering when you're in the presence of your bathers. And you, little buoy, put a respectful expression on your recognition surface. Be more like your friend, the slender manatee over there. In fact, why is it you two are still porpendicular? I mean, I know that they're slamming together perpendicular and porpoise, but that still threw me off a little bit. In fact, why is it you two are still porpendicular? In the presence of Sea Dwellers, you should be bowed at the right anglers. You should be bowed at right anglers. The first Sea Dweller seems to have an affinity for cheesy ocean puns. Ah yes, the stream of the rainbow crab rings. Oh yeah, that one. That quote, yes. I know what you're talking about, Cello. You bow to the Sea Dwellers. You have your dignity, but you also like not getting killed. Uh-oh. Karako remains stubbornly upright, his face getting angrier and purpler by the moment. The bladed weapons in his belt jingle from his enraged trembling. Getting more Karkat vibes than Tavros? Yeah, getting some Karkat vibes here as well, actually. Oh, see the little clownfish, he's getting angry. Looks like he's gonna shit his pants. What did I tell you about your face, boy? Didn't your Lucis teach you anything? My dad even has a Lucis. A self-respecting Lucis would never let a shrimp like that out of the hive. Unless his Lucis is just as defective. The Lucis cracks are too much for Karako! Ignoring your hissed warnings, he suddenly leaps, snarling into the air, draws bladed weapons from his belt in each hand, and hurtles toward the Sea Dwellers. Honk! Honk! Alright. So let's save there. And let's actually go back to the first decision point. And instead of leaping to our proto-friend's aid, let's go with run a drone! You run in wild panic! It's a drone! Even the Alternian badasses you've hung out with have been terrified of the drones! Up close, it's one of the most terrifying things you've ever seen, and it's making noises which you didn't know they even did, and which probably means something sinister. You race at top speed down the twisting path, focusing your senses to their breaking point to avoid trigger roots, razor leaves, and acid pods. At first, you hear the pattering of small feet running behind you, but as you redouble your speed, the pattering falls back and after a while is lost in the distance. You sprint for what seems like a lifetime before you finally catch your foot on a trigger root and go flying through the air, barely missing being sliced into 100 pieces of tumbling ham by the barbed spring vine that lashes across the path only inches behind you. You land in the dirt, wind knocked out of you, but otherwise unhurt. You lie there, catching your breath and waiting, but nothing happens. No enormous metal monster whizzes down the path to impale you. No small clown-faced individual overtakes you on his short legs. Finally, after enough nothing happens, you pick yourself up and dust yourself off. You're alone on the path, and no sound of either friend nor potential friend nor foe can be heard. No birds sing, which is probably good. You imagine that any birds native to this forest would probably sing by croaking up putrid sludge, and the sludge would be poisonous or radioactive. But leaving aside the character of the local fauna, what should you do? Keep on down the path, putting more distance between yourself and the drone? Or should you go back and see if Karako is okay? You waffle for a while, and then decide to go back. You sneak back along the path. You sneak a long, long way, but however far you go, there are no signs of either Karako or the drone. You don't know whether the drone picked Karako up and took him away, or disemboweled him and scattered the fragments, or whether Karako leapt into the undergrowth and hid, or escaped, or what. One way or another, you're all alone again on this path through shit-smell forest. Game over. Alone, all alone, forever. Alright, well. Let us now go back to the later decision point. So, Karako is attacking the Sea Dwellers. Do we grab him by the coattails and try to keep him from precipitating a disaster, or leap into the fray and lend comfort and support? Let's go with grab him by the coattails. You leap forward and grab Karako by the coattails, or by his belt. You aren't actually sure what a coattail is. Jesus, he's strong. You can barely hold him. It's like trying to restrain a small truck. His legs rotate wildly, kicking up a cloud of dust, and he brandishes his bladed weapons wildly in the direction of the Sea Dwellers. After a startled moment in which they jump backward, the Sea Dwellers have started to laugh again, coming up with more stupid insults and fish puns. This is not helping. Karako runs twice as hard, honks twice as loud, shakes his weapons twice as threateningly. Hey, hey, you shout at Karako, trying to be heard above the fracas, holding on with all your might and digging in your heels. You have half a mind to just let him go, to pay the Sea Dwellers back for their insults, but you try to keep a cool head. You're doing your proto-friend much more good trying to restrain his wrath. You've now succeeded in wrapping your arms all the way around him, and now you get in front of him, holding him back with straight arms, bellowing soothly into his face and trying to avoid the bladed weapons that he is brandishing. But it's not working. You can see from the contorted features, the bared teeth, the distended nostrils with smoke coming out, the blazing eyes that Karako is getting more and more enraged. And suddenly his rage seems to reach a kindling point. His body vibrates violently, his eyes grow huge and round. And suddenly, from his body, something like a nuclear blast pressure wave of fear and violence sends you flying through the air like a scrap of paper in a gale. What the fuck? Are you hallucinating? But you can see as you soar up above the path that the Sea Dwellers aren't laughing anymore. In fact, they are screaming in terror and fleeing wildly, blundering into razor leaves, being impaled by spring thorns, and burned by pod acid, and generally receiving the stern retribution that awaits assholes. Then your head collides with a tree branch, and you are rendered unable to narrate for a while. Here we go. You wake up lying in the dust. As consciousness returns, you realize that you are lying on the path, and as it returns further, that a small clown-painted figure is seated next to you. Quite calm now. He smiles fondly as he sees you sit up. Honk! You smile in return. You express relief that he realizes you were acting in his best interests and holding him back from the finheads. And now, though largely because of this unexpected burst of clown sorcery, or whatever that was, everything has turned out for the best. Karako holds up his arms for a hug, but then remembering the bladed weapons in his belt, sticks out his hand. You shake it warmly. Yay! We just made a feral friend! We just made a feral friend! Victory! Bomb! Oh, yay. That makes me happy. Karako is kind of like Gao from Final Fantasy VI. Like, I'm totally getting Gao vibes from Karako, actually. Alright, so we have one more ending to do. Let's leap into the fray and lend comfort and support. Instead of trying to hold him back. You leap into the fray to lend comfort and support! You would have counseled Karako to turn the other cheek and keep turning cheek after cheek until the Sea Dwellers got fed up and went away. But now that things have hotted up, you're not about to let down the side. Karako crashes into the Sea Dwellers, his bladed weapons whirling like a blender. You scamper close behind him and kick someone in the shin. It hurts your foot, but it doesn't seem to have any other effect. These Sea Dwellers are made of tough stuff, or you're extremely flimsy. Signs have recently pointed to the latter. Your next sortie is more effective, however. Thinking quickly, you pick up a rock and throw it at the trigger root of a spring thorn growing along the path to where the Violet Bloods are enduring Hurricane Cloud. The coiled stalk springs out, impaling the dude with a 12-foot-long thorns. He's thrown off balance, and violet blood begins to flow copiously down his body. That's a hue you haven't seen before. Kinda pretty. But these Sea Dwellers are made of tough stuff. He yanks the springthorn stalk away from him, pulling the thorns out, and flings it into the woods. Then he takes out a pocket handkerchief and starts patting his injuries gently. Meanwhile, Karako's bladed weapons have not been idle, and the other two Sea Dwellers are likewise leaking violet blood. But these bastards are hard to kill. You remember Polypa telling you that. As you watch, one of them grabs one of the bladed weapons from Karako's hand and buries it in Karako's stomach. Oh no! Karako, no! This, unsurprisingly, is distracting for a poor little clown, allowing two of the finny sons of bitches to grab handfuls of bladed weapons from his belt and bury them in various parts of his body. You dance around delivering harmless kicks and curses. Oh no. Karako is still waving his weapons, but he seems to be waving them more slowly now. Then, as more and more bladed weapons are buried in his body, he seems to lose focus. The weapons he's been brandishing fall from his hands. Oh no, finally he falls to the ground in a center of a spreading pool of purple blood, twitches feebly for a minute, and then is still. Oh no, Karako, we got Karako, Kara killed, oh no. You stare in disbelief at the corpse of one who, if he had been spared just a short while longer, would have been your friend. One despised and rejected, a clown of suffering, familiar with pain. They had flogged him and mocked him and spit on him. Whoops, no. And then killed him. You struggle to come to terms with this. While you're doing that, one of the remaining sea dwellers grabs you by the hair and suplexes you onto the ground. Your head snaps back in pain. Your head snaps back and pain explodes behind your eyes. You are left lying on your back and trying to stay conscious, which is why you have a good view of what happens next. In the dark sky above you, something opens. Something even darker than the sky. A hole, like a cave in the clouds. It widens until you can see that in the cave, a carousel with wooden horses mounted on brass posts rotates, the horses plunging up and down in time with carnival music played by a mechanical organ. What is going on here? Riding the horses are naked store window mannequins. Their legs swung awkwardly over the horses' backs, their stiff arms down by their sides in whatever pose they were created, with their horns huge and wildly shaped. Welcome to the carnival, mofos. I guess so. In the darkness above the carousel, other naked mannequins with plastic wings tied to their backs are supported on wires, and above these in turn, a net of white Christmas tree lights twinkle against the roof of the dark cave, or circus tent, or whatever it is, throwing their dim starlight illumination down on the rotating carousel. As you watch, two of the winged mannequins break loose from their wires and fly down from that dark region into the night sky in the dimension Alternia occupies. They maneuver until the stiff hands on the ends of their stiff arms are underneath Karako, and then they lift him up into the sky and into the dark carnival. You hear a last faint, reviving honk as they set him on one of the wooden horses, and then the hole in the sky closes and there is nothing but the night sky above you. All is silent and still again. An odd feeling comes over you. You don't think you've ever felt such a feeling, just the reality of how utterly insignificant you are. Wait, you were censored? What happened, Heterosapiens? I'm not seeing anything on my end that like automod caught or anything. Sure, you've spent the last few months wandering with no desire but the desire for connection, and you are, in a way, a being unique in this galaxy, but honestly, what does that even mean? You flit in and out of people's lives, there 1 minute, gone the next, always moving from friend to friend. You are, for all intents and purposes, a virtual non-entity, a bland point of view vector, a neutral second-person narrator, barely coming into the picture, a retiring entity expressing only a simple one-dimensional desire for friendship. But just about now, you feel that things have gone pretty far, and just about now, you feel that you've had about enough. Enough of arrogant high-bloods. Whoops, oh gosh, I keep accidentally clicking things. Enough, in fact, of this short wavelength hemotypes carelessly and without compunction, killing and maiming and exploiting those of longer wavelengths, of a survival of the fittest regime that seems to come down to survival of the most violent psychopaths. Is this a moral universe, or is it not? You ask yourself. Are repulsive cruelty and sickening evil punished in this universe, or are they not? Oh, dang it, I keep clicking things accidentally. Does an ethical force operate in this universe, or does it not? You don't know the answer to these questions, but you do know one thing. You intend to depart for once from your one-dimensional persona. You intend to punish repulsive cruelty and sickening evil if it comes within your ability to do so. You intend to create an ethical force field in your local region. You intend to exert some moral gravity right around where you are if you possibly can. And you realize that this odd feeling you are having seems to be drawing moral Higgs bosons out of the moral ground state and right out of the fabric of this multicolored blood-soaked planet that heaves under your feet. You take on the aspect of Clown Sarker. What the hell is happening? Seizing 2 cans of inexpensive soft drink from where they fell from Karako's bandoliers, you shake them and pull the pins. So wait a second, did Karako like... Are we Karako now? Is that what's going on? Did Karako like possess our body or something? I feel like something is possessing us now. Seizing 2 cans of an inexpensive soft drink from where they fell from Karako's bandoliers, you shake them and pull the pins. Then, with malice aforethought, you direct the twin streams at the sea dwellers. You smell banana and strawberry as the deadly streams play upon them. Already weakened, they fall back with cries under the withering onslaught. As soon as the streams slacken, you take up 2 more cans, shake them, and deal out death to the unrighteous. You smell peach and diet root beer this time, but no pity softens your heart. You wouldn't care even if it were pineapple watermelon you were spraying on these brutes. But these finheads are made of tough stuff. Rallying even in the face of this intense onslaught, they push forward and, seizing some bladed weapons from the purple blood pool, advance upon you. Not one step back, you vow to the memory of Karako. You vow to the memory of Karako Piro. You stand your ground in desperation, grabbing some cans of diet tonic water and club soda and opening your batteries once again, but to no avail. A trident pierces you to the bone, followed by a scimitar, a tomahawk, a short spear, and so many other bladed weapons that the sheer weight of them drives you to the ground, where your red, precious blood flows in moderate streams, mixing with the purple blood of your proto-friend. This is the end, you realize, but you are glad you died in righteous battle. You are glad you created even the tiny, sputtering, temporary moral force field in your local region that you did. You can feel your life and narrative point of view slipping away, but you are content. Yet, what's that you see above you now? A dark space has opened up, even darker than the night sky, and 2 stiff-looking winged figures are descending. They land next to you, and gently place their stiff hands under you. Then they ascend once again, lifting you higher and higher into the darker space. As you pass the boundary of the Heavenly Carnival, your life seems to revive within you. And, as the fabric of the place closes around you and the 2 stiff mannequins place you on the carousel horse next to Karako, you realize that planets, universes, dimensions, realities, powers, principalities, and cosmos come and go. But friendship is forever. Shh. Friendship. They're busy having a friendship, everyone. Let's just relax for a moment. Let them enjoy their friendship. Can the rest of the stream be this? Yeah, let's just have the rest of the stream be just chill. Friendship. ASMR. Understanding is optional. That's true, heterosapiens. Alright. Well, that was really weird and strange, and I don't understand, but do we need to understand? Perhaps not. Perhaps not. But yeah, that last ending went places. Like, the main character decided to be a moral force field in that particular place in the universe for only a moment. And yeah, understanding is overrated. Oh, look at Steiner. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, look at him being so adorable. Oh my goodness. Hey Steiny, how you doing, buddy? How is life? Maybe we could just have some cat petting ASMR. Maybe this can be the rest of stream. Hey, Copper. Yep, he has returned from Abu Dhabi, that's right. I mailed Steiner to Abu Dhabi, but now he's back. Ready to do Steiner thing.